Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly radio show called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker and trainer, and as a coach, I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. If your organization is having an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I've got a number of books on the market. You can simply go to Amazon and type my name in, Deb Sofield. All my books will appear. My first book, Speak Without Fear, is a public speaking primer. And then the latest one is called Perfecting Your Platform. And those two books work hand in hand. I also have my radio show in book form, and that's called Encouragement for Your Life. And you can pick up volume 1 through 3 on Amazon. The fact is, friends, I'm here to tell you that you matter. You're enough. You can live the life you were born to live by learning a few simple rules that I'm going to share with you every week. My theme for today is a good one, and it's simply this. Oh, friend, I want you to choose hope. Yeah, we're going to choose hope in the world we live in today. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for spending this next half hour with me. Let's get started with today's show. It seems like every week I hear about someone who's passed away either by natural death or by choice they made, and frankly, it can be a bit depressing. I was thinking about having a guest on this week to talk about depression and fear and other troubles that cause people to lose hope. But I struggled because I didn't want to prolong the pain that some who are listening might be going through with the loss of a loved one. I don't want to focus on sadness. We have enough of that going on in the world. What I really want to focus on is encouraging you, dear listener, to see your life for what it is and making the hard decision to fight to live another day. So I'll focus on what I believe could be your saving grace in our time together, and that is finding hope in your life. I got to admit, for many years, I was not a fan of the word hope. In fact, there was a time in one of my talks that I spoke about the minute value of the word hope that has everyone waiting for something to happen. But it won't, because we're waiting, and waiting doesn't get the job done. I've got to tell you, I don't give that talk anymore for a lot of reasons, but one is that as I look around today, I see for so many that hope might be the one word they cling to. And I frankly have no right to dispel their trust in a word that gives them strength to go on just one more day. I think the word hope has two sides. You can hope all day the dishes will get washed, but they won't unless you do it. You can hope to lose weight, but eating a dozen Krispy Kreme hot and now will not help you with your weight loss plan. You can hope to meet the person of your dreams, but sitting at home in front of a TV every night isn't a very good plan for success. And friends, you can hope all you want for everything you want, but without action, you're just hoping, or waiting, or wasting time. Because hope is an idea, and although that's great, without action, it gets nothing done. Unless you're hoping, because you have little to nothing else to hang on to. And if so, then go ahead and hope, because if that's all you've got, please hear it from me. For some listening, it might be enough. Now, there's the other side to this simple word. We can hope it gets better. It probably will. We can hope that you'll understand the meaning of the current situation, because in time it will be made clear. Hope that your kids will be okay and your parents will find peace. Hope that your life will have meaning to those you love and to those who watch you live your life daily. Friend, if hope is all you have today, then tie a knot and hang on. Because as I've gotten older and hopefully wiser, my type A personality is softening. I become more generous towards the word hope. I see that for many, it is all they have in the interim, while hoping for something to happen. And that's okay. I've always liked the quote that hope is a little voice you hear whisper the word maybe when it seems the entire world is shouting no. Isn't that odd? The one word that really made no sense to me when I was younger and pushing the envelope of life is now clear as day to me. As I watch and wonder how some can make it through the night, I've heard it said that if you keep hope alive, it will keep you alive. I think we toss words around like they have no meaning until they do. And then the meaning is what we cling to when we feel like we have nothing else. So friend, if hope is all you have, then stand firm in the storm. I doubt we'll ever know the reasons why people take their life, why people abandon their families, why some just walk away from jobs and friends and church and community without explanation. I've often wondered, did they just not know that others did care, or would have offered more attention if they had known the depth of the sadness and despair? It's at that time when I think hope might be the best answer to keep one's head and heart in line, to do the right thing, even though it may be hard. Because friends, hope changes everything if you'll just hang on. If you're struggling today, I want you to slow down. You might need to even stop and make a list of the good things that have happened to you. Now, I know you think, oh, Deb, that's a waste of time. But with all due respect, you're wrong. And it's a good thing to write these things down and remind yourself of your hopes and dreams and opportunities in life in real time. The reality is, if you don't write it down, you will forget. I was cleaning my office the other day and I came across a notebook where I had started to keep a list of good things that had happened to me. Not because I was depressed, but because I wanted to keep a record, a tangible list of success and of, frankly, answered prayers. Because sometimes I forget that I made requests and they were answered. Surprising even me, obviously, of so little faith. I can remember the big things I prayed for that were answered, but as I read through the other items on the list, I was renewed and refreshed at the blessings I had received that to others would have been small and insignificant, but to me, well, they were everything, from a car to a home to adding new friends in my life. I have written things in my book of opportunities I was hoping would come my way, of speaking jobs I had hoped for and was chosen, of conferences I wanted to speak at and was chosen, of writing a book that would be published, and now I have 5. I remember the first time I was asked to speak at some of the top campaign schools in the country. I was thrilled and thought, isn't that cool? I hope I'm not a one-hit wonder. And then I was asked back a second time, and that was amazing for me. And then I was asked back again. Now I've been asked for 10, 12 years. Speaking at Harvard University and Yale University were on my list because those opportunities meant something to me. You know, hope is a funny thing. You've got to be willing to put yourself out there and test the water to see if you can swim, or maybe you should just stay close to the shore. There's no magic formula to know if something will work unless you do the work, my friend. And when you do the work and are successful, or even if you're not, you know it's okay, really. It's okay because you're still here, trying, working, pushing, hoping. And who knows, maybe the timing isn't right now, but it might be one day, and then it will all make sense. Now, I'll tell you truthfully, not everything in my notebook has come true, or at least not yet. There's still mountains to climb, so to speak, but they're written down in ink, not to be removed, but to be accomplished in time, hopefully in my lifetime. I must say, as I've gotten older, I've become a very hopeful person, not just for me, but also for so many of my clients. See, their success is my success, and I work hard for them to be successful. But there's another side of life that I think many times we don't see or recognize, and that is those who seem to be hopeless. Have you ever met someone who seems hopeless? Not someone who plays games for attention, but someone who really has emptiness in their soul due to the death of a loved one or the loss of something. It's very sad acknowledgement of an empty place. If you know someone like that, be aware, be kind, be gentle, and remember, for some, you just being there is all they need. Just make sure they know you're there by email or card or call. Don't let your friends wonder if anyone cares. You need to let them know. I read a quote from Desmond Tutu who said, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness." A friend of mine lost a parent a while back and told me that over lunch they had with another close friend, that friend decided to give some of what they thought would be tough love. They told my friend to chin up, go forward, stop crying, pull yourself together, let go of your sadness. Well, instead of tough love, it came across as harshness. And to this day, that friendship is damaged due to the unkind words that were spoken. Now listen, I know it's a fine line, but friend, let's err on the side of kindness and hopefulness. I think it's interesting when people tell me that if they just had more money, they'd be happy. If they just had a career of their dreams, they'd be happy. If people recognize them for their great talent, they'd be happy. Seems like it would make sense, but then I look at Hollywood with all its bells and whistles and bright lights and bigger-than-life dreams and opportunities, and you and I could list all the celebrities and athletes, the well-known and the unknown, who we've lost. And they had all those things. Because when all is said and done, it doesn't matter what they had on the outside. It was what was on the inside that mattered. And the same is true with you and me and those we love. So I think the word hope is a funny thing. I believe it takes action on our part. And I want you to know that if you can't move right now, physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, oh friend, just hold on. Hold on tightly. And give in to the little word that offers you a respite on the road of life. And that's the word hope. Because friend, once you choose hope, anything is possible. I'm Deb Sofield. You're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm Deb Sofield. If someone you know is interviewing for law school, medical school, dental school, veterinary school, college, or a job, call me. Because you need to be prepared for the interview. Together, we'll craft the answers to the questions that will be asked, even the hard ones. I'll teach you how to connect with the interviewer, work on your positive body language, and give you the powerful words and answers the interview requires. You know, for most interviews, there's a standard set of questions that you must know the answer to. And depending on what you're interviewing for, that conversation changes. You need a coach, and I can help. I have years of experience coaching for all types of interviews. Call me. I'd like to be on your team. I'd like to be your coach. Contact me through my website, debsofield.com. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield. You're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. I want to continue on with this idea of hope and that we need to choose hope in our life because it really is important. I came across an interesting article by Ashaya Kapoor from calmsage.com, and the headline is Reasons Why Hope is Beneficial and Important for Us All. I'd like to share some of this with you. The article goes on to say, whenever we talk about optimism, pessimism, and realism, hope is always related to these words. Hope for life provides us happiness and health. A lot of people say the word hope means hanging on to positive expectations. I like that. Hope helps us to control our emotions. They say it improves the body's health, alleviates overall health, and reduces stress. But most importantly, they say hope, believe it or not, will improve your breathing. Hope is the only word that has more value and worth than some of the other words. There's a famous saying, there is life when there is hope. So the importance of hope in life, well, there's quite a few reasons. The article says it creates a sense of self-worth. And part of that because it reduces stress and anxiety. It improves professional and social relationships. For many, it leads on the road of positivity. A simple hope can make your day happy and cheerful. Research will show that hope has its own importance in life. Additionally, hope is essential to academic accomplishments. Research proves that students who have high hopes get decent scores in examinations because hope is directly related to motivation. So here are some reasons the article goes on to say that you and I should have hope. And I did like a lot of these. Probably the one I like the best is the first one. It says it protects us from big disasters. Whenever something negative happens in our lives, our brain immediately thinks about a worst case scenario. Meanwhile, hope is the only thing that keeps us on track and can stop the flow of negative emotions. Hope is the only phenomenon that turns a negative situation into a positive one. Hope also sets opportunities for growth. We all know that life has ups and downs, but it's hope for so many that keeps us in the game. And additionally, hope can provide motivation to learn when things fail that you and I can never give up. They say that if you have good hope, it can reduce fear. Hope reduces fear and provides strength in return. It's been proved in various studies. Meanwhile, whenever you feel fear, Hope that everything is going to be okay and that you're going to make it. And they say that fear will become reduced within your system. Hope also helps you achieve your goals. When you aim for your goals, you hope that one day you're going to achieve them. And friends, you and I will then start working on them. They say that hope is the one thing that can provide you and I strength in the journey. Hope also fosters good belief. Hope is the only thing that lets you live your life on your terms, and it helps you achieve more and more, because somewhere you will believe in something, and it can change into hope after a period when you see success happening, or if not, because you become a more hopeful person. You'll hear this phrase over and over when you study about the word hope. There is life when there is hope. And they say that because if you don't have hope, you as a human being, well, you'll start to, in a sense, crash because you don't see anything coming good into your life. Hope can come in all forms of energy. You just need to explore what's best for you. They say that hope is somewhat of a powerful therapy because it provides happiness and peace. And it's known to be a very powerful therapy because it can fill you with joy, happiness, peace. And as you breathe that into your body, it gives you the reason to live life to its fullest. Another thing they say is maintaining a sense of humor is the best benefit of hope. A sense of humor keeps you in the race and provides you strength to never give up. Additionally, with a good sense of humor, you can achieve a lot. And because we have hope, your, in a sense, humor becomes vocal. The article closes out by saying, hope brings success. When you have hope and a great sense of humor, success happily comes into your life. So friend, have hope in your life. Pray for happiness and peace. You never know what life has planned for you. That's why you should hope for happiness. And then the rest will fall into order if you have the faith to believe that all things are possible. Remember, where there's life, there's hope. Kind of a different article, but I did like it, so I wanted to share it with you. I came across another one on the importance of hope in our lives by impof.com. And they say this: life's unexpected twists and turns have the power to make us feel discouraged at times. Everyone has some kind of expectation when it comes to their occupation, their finances, their love, their life, their personal goals. However, what happens when things don't go the way we want them to? Well, some people can retain their faith and optimism, while others may begin to feel a sense of hopelessness. So let's be honest. No one can definitively read into the future to know what events will transpire next. And the importance of hope is that it allows us to believe in something prior to seeing it manifest before our physical eyes. You may not know that you'll get that position you applied for at work. However, hope helps you trust that the outcome will be in your favor. Now, some people have trouble doing this because they have a tendency to scrutinize every detail. Now, there's nothing wrong with being pragmatic. But friend, you need to understand that in our practical understanding of things, well, it's never a definitive conclusion. It's only one perspective of many. Think about some instance where most of the facts showed one outcome, but the outcome actually turned out much differently. If we all cannot agree on a coincidence, well, at least let's agree that the probability does influence many times how things occur, and many times our hope can be a deciding factor in how likely it is for us to succeed in life. They say the word hope is defined in many ways. Hope is commonly known as a feeling of trust and even expectation for something specifically desired to happen. I like that. Hope is commonly known as a feeling of trust and even an expectation for something specifically desired to happen. Hope usually deals with some degree of uncertainty. Chances may look bleak or the outcome may be unknown, and yet you can still have hope in a desired outcome. Now, hope in itself isn't a good or bad thing. In fact, it's basically a state of mind that can be applied to any desire or any aspect of your life. So here are the reasons why hope is important. A characteristic of hope is part of a larger process in dealing with motivation. Hope is very important in many aspects of life. It gives us the motivation to keep pursuing whatever it is we want to achieve or attain. For instance, if you hope to get fit, then you're more likely to work out. Now, the problem is some people lose hope or desire in something that they want because they're not seeing the results they expected. This doesn't just apply to getting the bodies we want. It applies to the jobs we want, the friends we want. and other aspects of your life. Without it, life can look much darker, and that goes because of the uncertainties of life, and that's why this whole idea of maintaining hope in your life, in good times and bad, is probably the best option for many listening today. They say hope can mean the difference between a person just surviving and a person living their life to the fullest. Hope has the power to overcome obstacles. When adversities arise and we find ourselves uncomfortable, hope has the power to bring us out of that dark hole. Hope remembers the times when we got through tough times and reassures us that we can make it through more uncertain times. See, hope believes in the impossible, and it allows us to go after our dreams. I gotta say, I like that article, a little bit different there. The importance of hope in our lives, and I think a lot of us see that, and then we think to ourselves, well, Deb, if I'm gonna hope, I'm gonna maintain it and push through. I think it's a good thing for us to think about. I came across another article, and it's by Mark Chernoff, and it says, things to remember when life gets rough. This is from an old newsletter I had, so I wanted to share with it again. He goes on to say, is it your resistance to what is that is causing your suffering? Remember, friends, happiness is allowing yourself to be perfectly okay with what is, rather than wishing for and worrying about what it is not. What is what's supposed to be, or it wouldn't be. The rest is just you arguing with life. Your attitude. Your attitude can improve your situation or degrade it. No matter how bad things are, you can always make things worse, people. Remember this. You can't have a positive life with a negative mouth or a negative attitude. When negativity controls your thoughts, it limits your behaviors, your actions, and opportunity. If you realized how powerful your thoughts are, I think some of you would never think a negative thought again. That's where this idea of hope comes in. Hope for the best instead of always looking for the worst. Friends, some of you are putting yourselves in a terrible position because you are not hoping and giving your mind this opportunity to expand, to accept, in order to follow through on what could come your way. He goes on to say, anger is poison. Always forgive people and move on, even if they never ask for your forgiveness. You don't do it for them, you do it for you. The best medicine is a strong dose of love and laughter and letting go. Just like we would never allow a tiny bit of poison to be in our food. Friend, do not allow a tiny bit of anger to live in your heart. Everyone has their own challenges and everyone has their own journey. It's meaningless to compare one with another. We need our own time to travel our own distance, and it's perfectly okay to be different. Today, the person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Friends, you're really pretty amazing. Even when life gets rough, you need to be willing to bet on you. If there's one investment in the world you can control better than anyone else, you, my friend, are worth it. Then he goes on to say, letting others in when you are in a dark place helps. No, they won't be able to pull you out of the dark place you're in, but the light spills in when they enter, and that will at least show you how to find the door. And the final point is when times are tough, you got to be tougher. Friend, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a tough one that will lead to greatness. And a lot of that hinges on this idea of being hopeful. Being hopeful in yourself, being hopeful that you have put a plan in place, being hopeful that your life has been mapped out by the Creator who made you, who knows you by name. So friend, have hope today. Maya Angelou once said, you may encounter many defeats, but friend, you must not be defeated, because it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. Let me finish with a few more quotes on hope that I love. Samuel Smiles once said, hope is like the sun, which, as we journey towards it, casts the shadow of our burdens behind us. I love the quote, hope is important because it can either make the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. The preacher Robert Schuller said, let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future. And then the great speaker Orson Swett Marden said, there's no medicine like hope, no incentive so great, no tonic so powerful as expectation of something better tomorrow. I love that. All right, it's been a difficult message today because, friends, hope is hard. It is. I know sometimes things just don't seem to be going in your direction. But really, what choice do you have? So let's look on the bright side. Let's be realistic. Let's do our work. Let's put a plan in place. And let's just hope for the best. I'm Deb Sofield. You've been listening to Encouragement for Your Life. I hope you have a great weekend. Friends, I hope you take some time for yourself. I really encourage you to write down the things that have been good in your life. Keep it somewhere handy. Because when times get tough, it's really hard to think that they're ever going to get better. But if you've got it written down and there's a list of things that did come true, things that were good in your life, things that really made sense, it will give you that break, that little bit of light in the darkness so you can find your way. I hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to connecting with you next week. Same time, same place for Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life. Take care, everybody.